What's up, everybody? It's Grim from GTS Wrestling, and welcome to the best ever Joe Cronin's Monetize This World Heavyweight Champion, the video games collector, the game hunter, Casey is raw. And if you're not down with that, we got 3 words for you. Eat it, yeah!
Welcome, guys. This is Casey is Raw again, and this is Talking Wrestling again. And this is over a week late now. I was planning to do this review and opinion of the latest Tales from the Territory. Well, it's not even the latest Tales from the Territory, but it's about championship wrestling from Florida. Honestly, I feel like they started off with the series off with a bang with the first 2. And then, I was not a fan about the AWA version the first time around, but when sitting down and listening to it again, I actually liked it better. So, but this one is about championship wrestling from Florida. Or like they call it, is CWF. So, honestly, it's wrestling from Florida. And when when you're regional, when you say where you're located, I mean, at least world-class championship wrestling, that sounds global. The WCCW. Even when Eastern Championship Wrestling, the first stages of ECW sound too regional. But honestly, this territory was founded by Eddie Graham. You know, he had a great head of hair. I mean, God, I am super jealous at this guy. They're saying that when you went from black and white to color TV, you notice Eddie Graham, and I can see why. Very bleach blonde hair with slicked back, and if he was alive today, the way he looked, he can easily fit in today's age, where everyone's hair is pretty much slicked back again. But there, a lot of these guys are really only the people on the call that was on the show. Was a bunch of people that I really didn't know that much. The only person I really knew on the call was Gerald Briscoe. And you know what? For how old he is, he looks pretty good. And he doesn't sound horrible. So I'm happy that guy is still running and ticking. I think isn't his brother Jack Briscoe passed away recently. So they were talking about pretty much how Eddie Graham would pretty much make you sure know that if you're gonna get into wrestling, they're gonna make sure if you want to be in wrestling, they'll hurt you. Eddie Graham used to beat the shit out of people when they first come in, and I thought it was hilarious when they had one guy. They said they chained the door closed, and Eddie Graham just beat the hell out of this person. And he's like, "Oh, please God, no! Please God, no!" And then he's like, "I'm not God. I'm motherfucking Eddie Graham." This is before I'm Rick James, bitch. That was the first original version of I'm Rick James, bitch. So, yeah, they'll make sure if you're gonna be in wrestling that you think the thing is real. And now, that reminds me when Grizzly Smith would, treat his kids. And it's horrible what I'm about to say, but I'm not going to talk about what he personally sexually did to his kids, but what he would do, he would pretty much promote his storyline with his kids, I guess, to check how they would act, see if it was going to sell, that Jake the Snake would when Grizzly Smith would say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go to this territory, and this guy's going to be there," and sell them the story, and Jake and all his siblings would cry because they feel one day their father's going to be dead because those villains keep want to beat his father up. And so and I think partially why he did that was not only to gauge how the storyline's going to be, two, it's kind of how I was trying to tell you, if you wanted to get into wrestling, you treat the wrestling business with respect. You're not going to go in there and say, "Oh, well, the whole thing's fake and everything." So, and unlike, AWA, they just train you. They train the hell out of you. If, like they said, if you came out of AWA, you're ready to rock and roll. Because Vern Gagne trained all the people. And, the last person I know who was from that camp that Well, technically, the last person who ever wrestled from that camp was Ric Flair. But I was going to say it was Shawn Michaels, but it would be Ric Flair, technically, especially after his one last match. But CWF is where they had Dusty would show up. Dusty Rhodes, baby. And he pretty much learns his chops, his intelligent wrestling mind from Championship Wrestling from Florida. So, that's how he got his wrestling mind. And Gerald Briscoe talks about how he noticed Hulk Hogan in the crowd every Tuesday night, and he said he was like pretty much a sore thumb, stick out like a sore thumb. Well, the way how they showed it, like, yeah, the blur vision, like you can see who they're trying to imitate as Hulk Hogan. So they kind of did, like I was saying, they took Hulk Hogan in their training camp, and to make sure this guy wants to be in the wrestling business, they crippled him to see if he would come back. And they're like, Hogan always said that this guy broken his leg, but Joe Briscoe said nothing was broken, but he was definitely injured. So I learned not to trust Hulk Hogan's word. I'll take Gerald Briscoe's word over Hogan. I'm sorry. But yeah, back then, the wrestling business was, you treat the wrestling business with respect. If you think it's fake, they'll beat the hell out of you. So, Mike Graham was Eddie Graham's son. So, to me, Mike Graham was more well known for, what DVD? It could have been WCW. I think it was the rise and fall of WCW. He did the whole infamous, he never drew a dime deal. And who they were showing off was Jeff Jarrett. So he was knocking Jeff Jarrett, even though, I think Jeff Jarrett as a world champion for WCW was underrated. I think he was okay world champion, maybe a good heel champion. But, I learned to respect Jeff Jarrett a little bit more nowadays than did back then. But Mike Graham was obviously taking a shot at Jeff Jarrett, and though he has no bones about it, if it was a shot at TNA, they'll do it without mentioning their name. Like, they'll take a shot at them without mentioning their name. So, that's what Mike Graham was most recognized for. And I'm sure you guys know what clip I'm talking about. If not, I'll definitely show you. But, Mike Graham was obviously a wrestler for the territory. And it was definitely well-known championship wrestling from Florida. I mean, I never was into it. I wish WWE did a documentary of the show. I mean, of the territory. Because WWE does these great documentaries before the whole network started. Those DVDs. Like how I love the AWA one. The W's or World Class or WCCW. God, I'm thinking there's another one, but yeah, and I like those territory documentaries from the WWE. Well, I hate to say this, it's ever since those two Memphis ones, I mean, I felt like they dropped down, and I wouldn't say quality, it's just not as entertaining, it dropped. It didn't really feed me much about CWF. I'm sorry, guys. Championship Wrestling from Florida. It didn't really taught me anything much about it. It would have been nice to hear about stories and pranks they would do, but I wish they would talk more about the territory than pranks and stuff like that. I mean, even though the prank, they talked about where this one guy, the wrestlers love mooning each other. That's what I learned the last couple episodes. So there was one where one guy was driving down the highway and he saw another wrestlers driving, and he would stick his ass out of the window. Apparently, he got his ass stuck in the window. I'm like, how do you get it stuck? I'm like, unless you have such a big ass. I mean, nowadays, like, I just don't see how that's possible. I'm thinking maybe when they say, oh, his ass was stuck in the window, that's what I'm thinking what happened. His ass got stuck. But I guarantee what probably really happened is that he couldn't reposition himself so he can sit down and drive. But they did another prank to combat that one. They put this guy into the back in the trunk, and they're saying, we're going to be here, and I'm going to tell you, honk at you, and you're going to pop open, and you're going to moon these guys, wrestlers, when coming behind us. So they got it started to do it, and they did the prank, and they're mooning a bunch of people out of restaurants. So it was fun. I would have said that Championship Wrestling from Florida version was not that great. I'd say check it out, but it was not my favorite of the episode. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk to you guys later. See ya. Bye.